Ritesh, you told Business Insider, I make more money from my side hustles than my six-figure software engineering job. How did that happen?
So I had these side hustles already built up before I started my software engineering job. The biggest contract my friend and I got, we were just a two-man show. It was a one-time project that was paying 25 grand, and I actually made a YouTube video on like coding like a checkout bot. It went super viral on YouTube, which is like $250,000 views for this niche. And I got a ton of leads just messaging me to create bots for them. I had probably made six figures with just the bot/tech stuff, probably soon after I graduated.
How much money did you make from your side hustles in total before you went full-time on them?
I think about 150,000.
What is the modern definition of an AI agent these days?
AI agent now, just any tool that can automate a task with a deep understanding. Right now, it's all called agents, the official term. The only difference between an AI agent and a bot is just one uses AI in its processing. My first AI chatbot I sold was to a therapist. I sold for $1,250 and then $125 a month retainer.
So let's say you're starting from scratch today. No audience, no clients. How would you build your first profitable AI agent in 30 days?
I'd say the first thing you would do is, some of my friends who graduated in 2023, they've either been laid off once or twice, or they're finding a job right now because they got laid off. Can't trust these big tech companies, and like layoffs are only going to get worse as AI progresses.
Can anybody do this? Can anybody with a computer science or software engineering background build profitable AI agents?
Anyone with, for sure.
What's the strategy there?
As long as you're like...
Ritesh, you told Business Insider, I make more money from my side hustles than my six-figure software engineering job. How did that happen?
Yeah, so like I've been doing side hustles since I was in college, right? I started my first YouTube channel with the SAT. So I would create SAT videos on YouTube. I didn't mean to do it. It just somehow I put a video on like of me doing the SAT math section, and it got a shit ton of views, and I was not expecting that. And I know YouTube because I had previously had like an anime channel in high school where at the time YouTube didn't really care about like what content you uploaded. They would still monetize you. And I used to upload anime clips of Naruto, and I got a lot of views, and I got paid over 10 grand for that, right? Over the course of like my high school like career, in a year actually. So I was like, okay, I understood the power of YouTube. So when my SAT video blew up, I was like, okay, I'll just make more SAT videos. And I did. And with very low effort, I started getting a ton of views, and with that, AdSense revenue came in. I started launching like SAT courses and the notes, and then I was like, it was good money, right? It made over six figures while I was in college, and then at a certain point, I was like, okay, this is kind of boring. Like I'm now a junior in college, and I don't want to keep making SAT videos. It was funny because people recognize me as an SAT guy, right? And it was cool. But then I was like, all right, I need something different. And at the time, one of my friends, he was a big sneaker reseller in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So he had asked me if I could make a bot for him that could buy these sneakers extremely quickly. And so I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And this is actually back in freshman year, but my other friend and I, we built it out. It worked. We got about 300 users, right? At the time, you could sell a license key for your bot for like $900 per user. But right before we went live, our bot crashed and it stopped working. So we actually made $0 on that venture, but we made a lot in terms of experience, right? So then my friend and I, who were coding the bot originally, we ended up making more bots and then more automation tools, and that became the next side hustle for me. So then I was like, okay, let me start doing this more. So we started doing full stack software development for like small businesses. We started building web apps for trading discords, and we started developing tools and started selling to people. So fast forward like towards the end of college, start a new YouTube channel, just talking about automation and like building these bots and like selling them. And that started making money. And then as a result, I got more clients and I started selling more solutions to clients. So I had these side hustles already built up before I started my software engineering job. And I'm not going to like stop them because I always had this mindset that, okay, if let's say I don't want to do a full-time job, because my goal was to not do a full-time job outside of college. But then I was like, well, I want the corporate America experience. So I just did both, right? And thanks to my job, which was kind of lenient in terms of like time, I was never burnt out by time 5 o'clock hit. So I could still put in work on my side hustle to maintain that. And yeah.
Yeah, talk to me about your background here. So you studied computer science, you did the traditional software engineering path. Walk me through what you did in that regard.
Yeah, so I went to University of Maryland, College Park. 4 years, did a BS in computer science, and then had like a minor in business analytics. Traditional route, right? Like you do your coding classes. I specialized in machine learning because University of Maryland gives you that opportunity, which is pretty cool. did the lead code. I spent like hours on lead code junior year, did the internship at Capital One for 3 months in 2022 in New York City. And fast forward to after completing my computer science degree, I just went to Capital One full time because I had secured the full time offer. But yeah, pretty traditional route, nothing absolutely crazy. Didn't do any hackathons. I know like that's one thing I feel like I missed out on as a computer science student. I never did a hackathon. I just built like my personal solutions I would sell to clients, and that was my hackathon. You know, I was like, this is more, first of all, this is more real world. Like hackathons, just you're in a school environment. And I had this thing where I was like, not anti-school because I still loved school. I love the people there, right? But I hated like doing things traditionally. You know, I always wanted something like outside, different, unique, you know? So that was like the goal all along.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the speaker bot situation. I think it's funny. I don't know. Do you know the payment processor WAP? Have you heard of them before?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I think we talked about this. The founder of WAP, I met him recently, or I saw him on, give a lecture, and he also started with like sneaker bots. I think he did in high school by age 14, 15, 16. He was doing like over 100 grand a month online through selling sneaker bots and solutions for that. So I think it's super interesting how young people end up starting the entrepreneurship game through that. But tell me, like you mentioned how you were building all of this stuff in college. Like when did it actually scale? Like what numbers are we talking in terms of side hustle income as you're a computer science student?
Yeah, sure. Actually, real quick, it's funny you mentioned WAP because I do know like the owners. I don't know if they still run it, but Cameron and Hunter at the time were running it. And I was tapped into WAP in its early stages when it was a sneaker reselling platform mainly. That's how it started, right? So it was pretty cool to see like how much they've grown now. But yeah, but going back to like in terms of numbers, so the biggest contract my friend and I got, it was a 2-man show. It was a one-time project that was paying 25 grand. It was to build a web app for this trading Discord, which had about like 100,000 free members, and they're trying to go paid. And they had a paid tier, but they wanted to offer their paid community something more. So we built a web app for them. And I had this client, like we built a long-term relationship for a while. So like I was the go-to guy for anything tech, right? And then I also had a checkout bot. It's like another sneaker bot, but instead of for sneakers, it was actually for golf clubs. So super niche, and I actually made a YouTube video on like coding like a checkout bot. It went super viral on YouTube, which is like $250,000 views for this niche. And I got a ton of leads just messaging me to create bots for them. So one of the leads happened to be the owner of the Times Square Tower, where the ball drops in New Year's. Right? He I think he's a CFO of the advertising company that runs all the ads there. So he wanted a checkout bot for golf clubs. So I built it for him, and it was so easy. It was under 100 lines of code. Like people don't realize that it's a lot of websites, they don't have these huge like infrastructures in place to stop bots, right? And I built it, it worked. Like it's not Nike where Nike has like a ton of security. Like Cameron, who was probably making those bots back in the day, like all the sneaker bot developers, they're really good at what they do. Like they are probably the top engineers. Like I think they're better than engineers like Google and like these other companies because it's hard what they do. Like I tried it. Like I had moderate success with it. It's really hard. But with these other like lesser known sites, it's pretty easy. Like 100 lines of code, you're pretty good. Like maximum 500 lines of code, right? So it worked. And every single week we would get like a bunch of golf clubs and he would collect them. So I was like, bro, like these are like 2K minimum, 11K maximum. So I asked him, what do you do for a living? And that's when he told me about the Times Square thing. I was like, oh, this guy has money, right? And I'm a college student, so I'm trying to like, you know, make a bag. So then I was like, okay, how about, you know, you give me commission for every putter that you give me instead of like a one-time sell. So he was paying about $400 like per club I would get him, and I would probably make about $1,200 a week, right? It's my junior year of college. And then it came to a point where I was like, hey, how about, I didn't run it every single week. I didn't want to do it anymore. So I was like, how about I just give you this and you pay me like a one-time fee of like $10,000, right? This is the biggest I've ever quoted someone, right? Aside from the web app project, right? He declined. So I was like, dang, it sucks. But he countered with this. He said, I will pay you $4K and I'll put you on Times Square for free. So I was like, you know what? I'll take that because it costs like 80 or 70 grand otherwise to feature on Times Square on like the main one. So I took that deal. And yeah, the same bot I started selling to other people as well. Had this one client who paid $1,500 per putter. He's a big real estate guy in Louisiana. So he was like a huge collector. He'd also resell them. And because like the resale value was so high, it justified him paying $1,500. So within like 2 months, that one bot made about 30 grand from just the real estate client. So I'd say I had probably made 6 figures with just a bot / tech stuff probably soon after I graduated, right? And that's not including the SAT stuff, right? So that was pretty cool.
So when you talk about bots here, to be honest, I'm completely outside of this space. I knew a little bit about it from friends in high school, friends in college who were kind of doing this. Could you explain what this game is? What's the principle behind it? Why are people creating these bots to purchase these items?
Yeah, sure. So a bot is just like now they're called agents, right? That's like the official term, but every automation, every AI agent, as they call them, is still a bot. A bot is just a program that automates something. At its simplicity, that's where it is, right? So a checkout bot is just a bot or a program that automates purchasing an item extremely quickly, right? So that's the entire game. Is any website that's first come, first serve model, you can build a tool that can do whatever a person would do manually, just like 10 times faster, right? And people will pay for that speed, right? It's different from AI agents only in the fact that there's no like AI backend or anything. In fact, there's some like AI web browsers that claim that they can, do purchasing of items. Like I think ChatGPT Atlas, for example, can buy items off Amazon. Yeah, but it's so slow, right? And sometimes speed matters, and when speed matters, you can't rely on AI because it takes time to process, understand the HTML, so it just fails.
Got it. And tell me, when did bots become agents? Like, tell me about the difference between AI agents, bots, and what this all means for someone with without that background specifically.
Yeah, sure. So I'd say 2023, when AI became like a big thing, right? That's when bots just transformed to agents. Like the term bot honestly is not used anymore, right? It's only used by people who were from the bot scene back then, like people like me or people who like that were coding bots and selling them. Right now, it's all called agents, the official term. The only difference between an AI agent and a bot is just one uses AI in its processing. Otherwise, let's say, for example, you build an agent that is able to find the best travel plan for Japan, right? You can call that a bot. Right? It's the same thing. Yes, in this case, speed doesn't really matter, but a bot doesn't necessarily mean speed always has to matter. That's just for checkout bots specifically, but otherwise, it's all the same.
Yeah, before we get into our full AI agents deep dive here, I want to hear more about how did Capital One react when that Business Insider article came out?
Yeah, I mean, they weren't too happy with it, but it makes sense because, in any corporate environment, you have to first talk to the corporate officer, like the communications team, like, hey, there's this article coming out, all that. I wasn't aware of that. Like it's my first time, right? Being featured on like a big publication while being a corporate employee. So they just weren't, I just didn't follow procedure, right? So that makes sense, right? Like that's not on them, that's on me. But yeah, I mean, I talked with their team, right? They let me know, they informed me, hey, in the future, you got to do X steps and Y steps and Z steps. I was like, okay, next time. Because I actually had a Wired article that Wired reached out to me. So I was like, okay, I'm telling you guys right now, like, hey, I also have this as well. So that was way more smooth.
Were they okay with you doing the articles or they were kind of against it?
I mean, it already came out by the time they found out, right? So I guess they couldn't really say anything at that point. But no, I think they were more against it, just the fact that I just didn't do the right way. Like I didn't approach them about it first. But I think if I had done that, they would be more fine with it. I mean, they'd probably want to see the copy of the article, make sure it's all good. But they'd be probably fine with that. Yeah.
Were they fine with the Wired article?
So the Wired article came out, or it didn't come out. The Wired article, I talked to the team, but I approached the team, like they approached me, and I responded back to them after I left Capital One. Right. So that didn't matter. Their opinion didn't matter on the Wired article because that was after I left the company in terms of it coming out. But actually, it ended up never coming out. So, yeah, it was like a conflict of interest in terms of like what they were looking for, or not conflict of interest, but what they were looking for didn't match what I was like my mission. So we just didn't. That article never came out. But yeah,
that makes sense. So before we dive into the AI agents deep dive here, just to headline this, like how much money did you make from your side hustles in total before you went full time on them?
I think about 150,000, right? Maybe more than that, maybe like 150, 180. I wish my accounting was better, right? But I think it was like anywhere from 150 to 180, I believe. In terms of, I guess, net profit, I feel like. So, but my numbers were so like 99% profit margins, where revenue profit I treated the same almost.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So you made $180,000 from your side hustles, as a computer science student and then early software engineer. Let's go into the AI agents discussion here. So tell me, I think we already talked about bots versus AI agents. Like, what is the modern definition of an AI agent these days?
Yeah, I guess the AI agent now, just any tool that can automate a task with a deep understanding of it, or like an AI backend, like some sort of smart processing that's being incorporated into it. I feel like the definition's so loose now because of how people have used the term in so many different ways. Like an end-to-end flow, people call it or a Zapier flow. People call that an AI agent when that's really not. It's just like a bunch of tools being put together with maybe one AI agent in the middle that's doing some like the thinking behind like what's going on, right? So now the term, I feel like it's such a saturated term. Like I don't even know how people would define it. Like I might define it this way, but the next person might define it a totally different way. So I just look at it as a program that automates something using AI.
Got it. And you actually help people build these AI agents and sell them. So let's actually dive into that. Why can a regular software engineer and computer science student actually build AI agents?
Yeah, so I think, in fact, a computer science student has a huge advantage over anyone else in this space. Because a lot of people are getting to this AI agent, AI automation space that don't have technical experience, because there's tools like end-to-end or VoiceFlow where you can build AI chatbots, AI workflows, entire AI systems, right? That you can sell to companies, like small businesses, medium companies, individuals. So if these non-technical people are building these flows and these automations, just imagine someone who is technical and knows how to code. Like immediately a client will trust you more than someone who's non-technical. Like a real estate agent trying to sell you an AI system compared to a software engineer selling an AI system, you're probably going to believe the software engineer more because, this guy is a technical person, right? So a computer science student, one, they have a coding background, but for a lot of these tools, you honestly don't need much coding. However, to make your systems unique compared to like your competitor, you can add custom coding blocks or custom coding components to it that make your automation stand out compared to like all the other automation that exists for that niche, right? Like content production is a big one right now where people are building automations that create these AI videos that you might see, like these like cat videos, cat dancing videos or whatever, or like doorbell videos is a big one right now. And they post on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok in an automated fashion, and it just like increases like the amount of views that this person might be getting, right? They might link their product in the description, like their e-com product, to drive sales, right? If you can somehow have some sort of coding component to it that gives some sort of unique factors in this flow, like you've already separated yourself from anyone else. Now, it might not be needed, but the fact that you have the option to make it unique compared to your competitor because you know how to code. So like computer science students are the best people to do this because of their unique advantage over anyone else.
For sure. Listen up. If you're struggling to land an amazing software engineering full-time job or internship, or if you submitted dozens of applications and you feel like nothing is working, or if you failed multiple online assessments and interviews, or you just feel like you don't understand the process to land a great offer in the market of today, I actually run a school for people like you called the Software Engineering Accelerator. Now, over the past year, we've helped dozens of people land incredible jobs at internships at companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, Salesforce, Adobe, LinkedIn, Capital One, MongoDB, JP Morgan, and the list goes on. And the best part about our program is that we actually guarantee the outcome. If you don't get the full-time job or internship you want, you don't pay. So if you'd like to work directly with me and my team of FANG recruiters and engineers to land an incredible job in tech guaranteed, click the top link in the description and submit an application to join us. And tell me about what are the most common AI workflows / agents, and then what kind of clients are we talking about here? Why do they purchase, or why do they hire you to build these agents? What is a business reason behind that?
Yeah, sure. So one of the biggest ones and one of the simplest ones right now, it's kind of overused now, but AI chatbots was like the biggest thing in 2023 and 2024, right? Any website where you see like the chat icon on the bottom right, you click it and it's saying waiting for a live customer support person, right? Like wait 5 minutes or whatever. So that person's waiting, they might just leave the website. Right, so you've missed a website visitor who could have became a potential lead for your business, who could have became a paying client just because they had to wait 5 minutes. So if you have an AI chatbot that is trained on your website and all your company's information, it can answer all the questions in a better way even than a regular person would, right? And it can lead the person to booking a call with your team, and then you just close them on the call, but that's a human component. But just getting that website visitor to book a call, doing that with the AI chatbot is much more reliable and efficient than a real person. Because now you also have to pay a real person. So a company is not only saving money, but they're also just speeding up the workflow, right? So it makes sense to pay someone for that. You could charge, I remember my first AI chatbot I sold was to a therapist. I sold for $1,250 and then $125 a month retainer, right? For maintenance. But there's not much maintenance you have to do with these AI chatbots. Like they're like pretty straightforward. Another example, like the content production one I told you about, that's a big one. A lot of like e-com brands are trying to like do mass marketing on all these short form platforms, just incorporate their link of their product in the description or the caption or the bio, right? So selling a workflow that's able to create good AI generated videos. There's different models, like there's Sora 2, there's Veil 3, there's I think Wan 2.2. You can use these different models, and whoever has the best system that's creating the best looking videos, just upload them across all these platforms, and e-com brands will pay you for that. Right. Another automation, this one person that I mentor, she built this TikTok script automation that finds viral TikToks for a specific product in a specific niche, and it transcribes them and generates a new script based off those viral scripts to make for a new TikTok. So now let's say you're a competitor vacuum brand and you're like, okay, these vacuum brands went viral off these scripts. Let me copy their scripts, make it my own, and make a new video based on this script. And the chances of going viral are much higher because it's from proven scripts, right? So doing that manually will take a lot of work, but doing that in an automated fashion is like something you would pay for. So speed and time.
So let's say you're starting from scratch today. You're a second or third year in university. You have your basic computer science skill set, no audience, no clients. How would you build your first profitable AI agent in 30 days?
Yeah, like a pretty good question. I'd say the first thing you would do is find a niche that you have some relation to, right? People you know should be in this niche. So for example, a lot of people say, oh, like real estate's a big niche, dermatology is a big niche, anything beauty or fashion, right? If you're not someone who's into fashion or beauty, or you're not a realtor, don't do it, right? Find a niche that is relevant to you, or someone you know that has a small business, right? Let's say your uncle owns a pizza store, right? Go to your uncle and ask him, what's the manual process you do right now, right? First thing look at is a website. Is there even a website in the first place, right? If there isn't, now you have a chatbot you can build for him and a website. So as a package offer, let's say there is a website. 9 times out of 10 pizza stores that are like non-chain restaurants, they do not have AI chatbots. So start with that, right? To build an AI chatbot, show it to him, and you could probably build in like 2 or 3 hours. Like it's really easy now to build these AI chatbots. Show it to him as like a live demo. He or she's most likely going to love it, right? Because you can pitch it as like, hey, you're saving this amount of time. You can get people, you can book orders through the chatbot directly, right? Which is like automating your entire booking system. And 9 times out of 10, once the value is seen, the person will most likely buy. Now it's just all about pricing, what's a good price, right? And if you're just new, you don't want to go for like a $5,000, check. You probably go for like $500 or $300, right? And then get this, that's your first client, right? Now get this client, get a testimony out of them, like a video testimony, because written testimonies can be falsified, right? Get a video testimony, make a landing page, put that testimony on the landing page, record a video of you selling your product, have a demo of your product on your landing page as well. And now you can pitch to other local pizza stores that are non-chain and try to get them to buy into your product. And because you have testimony and proof that it works and a real person who's already paying for you or paying for your product, the other pizza stores are like, I have FOMO. I want this too. And everyone wants AI right now. Like everyone's like thirsty for AI. So like the chances of the next client coming in is much faster and much higher, right? And the third client becomes easier. The fourth client becomes easier. It's like a snowball effect.
So you mentioned starting with the problem, meaning you go to a potential customer, understand their business and understand what the gap is, and then build a solution. Do you recommend starting with the problem and then building a custom solution for that, or just come up with something and try to market it?
So that's the thing, right? Like some people, they will build the product first and then they'll try to market it, right? I would say do that only if you know what the problem is. Like if it's your personal problem, right, then do it. Like another route I would say, if you don't know anyone in business or like your uncle doesn't own a pizza store, just find a personal problem that you have. You're like, man, I wish this was automated. I wish this was done in a faster way or a better way. Build it for yourself. So worst case, if no one buys it from you, you at least automate something in your personal life. You're not able to work faster, move faster, whatever it is, right? Do that. And usually what happens is when you're able to automate something in your personal life, there's no way you're the only person with that problem. right? Like your friends, they're your friends because you guys have some similarities. Maybe they have the same problem. So now, since you build something, you can show people that product as well. So you can go both routes, to be honest. I've gone both routes for the different projects. And I won't say one is better than the other. It really depends on your unique circumstance. Like, do you have people, personal connection that you can leverage? If you don't, then you want to start with your own problems.
We're going to talk about how to market it, and also can anyone do this and what the tech stack or skill set they need is. But before we go there, I want to ask you, why even do this? Why not just stick to the 9-to-5 corporate job? Why do you recommend software engineers and computer science students try to make money on the side through AI agents?
Yeah, sure. So I feel like there's plenty of statistics that can prove this, but I mean, I might be wrong. The amount of layoffs, right, are at an all-time high. I feel like everyone can agree with this. Some of my friends who graduated in 2023, they've either been laid off once or twice, or they're finding a job right now because they got laid off, or they had to like settle for a job that just wasn't like high paying or whatever as a software engineer, right? Because big tech wasn't hiring anymore and good companies weren't really recruiting anymore. So as a result, they had to go for like maybe like a lesser company that is not the best, right? So if you want to end up in a position where either you might get laid off, right, or you're not making how much you think you've earned, like based off your education, right, then you want to do side hustles because you want to protect yourself. You want to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, because if you're not, then you're at the mercy of your employer. And the moment they cut you, because you're just a number to them, like they don't have any value in you, right? The moment you're cut, now you're on your butt, right? What are you going to do now, right? So you got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And that's why side hustle is the best thing. And it doesn't have to be tech. It can be anything, but with like apps and AI agents and automations, it's a like minimal cost startup. Like real estate, you gotta have like funds, like 25 grand for like a down payment on a property, right? If college students usually are like broke outside of college, right? 'Cause they spend all their money on tuition. So like you can build an app for literally like $50. You just need a good laptop, right? And in college, you use your college laptop, maybe like a domain, right? And maybe like a website template for like a landing page. And that's it. That's all you need, right? And the amount of money you can make is infinite, right? So you gotta do side hustles in today's economy with like the amount of layoffs we're having. And like, I think 4 days ago, Amazon just cut off 30,000 jobs, right? So like you can't trust these big tech companies, and like everyone, like layoffs are only gonna get worse as AI progresses. Like the gap between rich and poor is gonna increase so high because anyone who can leverage AI and has the resources too, they're gonna do it. So these low, like for example, a junior business analyst, a lot of time that they're spending is on an Excel. I promise you an AI can do all those Excel operations. The only reason they have been replaced yet is because companies, especially financial companies, and I actually work in the fintech, so I know they're much slower to add AI into your systems because of personal data and like, personal information, whatever. So that makes sense. But once these companies accept, I think PNC just added like Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, right? I know Capital One has like Gemini, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think so. So as these new AI tools and models are being adapted into these work environments, the need for junior level roles is going to decrease. So a bunch of new grads are going to be like screwed, right? Let's have maybe master's degrees, or even eventually even master's degree won't be enough. So you got to be standing on 2 feet.
Can anybody do this? Because I know what the computer science student, software engineer, new grad is listening to this. They're probably thinking, sure, this worked for you, Ritesh. Maybe it worked for a bunch of other people, but it's not going to work for me. So can anybody with a computer science or software engineering background build profitable AI agents?
Anyone with or without?
With.
Yeah, anyone with for sure. Anyone with, yeah. As long as you're like willing to learn and you're coachable and you're someone who's like understands that just because you know how to code doesn't mean you're guaranteed success, especially because AI agents, like I said, like you don't need to know much code. So if you're like, man, I've been coding for 10 years, this should be super easy for me, right? Don't have that mindset. Like keep an open mindset, because there's a lot of people who don't know how to code who are doing like $100,000 a month, right? So they're much ahead of you, right? So don't have that ego. So as long as your ego is dropped and you're willing to learn, yeah, if you know how to code, this should be straightforward for you. You should definitely understand it easily, right? It's more of a marketing game and how to get clients game in your case. But for non-technical people, you got to learn the technical side first, and then it becomes a marketing and like distribution game.
And what do you think a realistic progression in terms of profit in this model is? Like, let's say you pick like an average Joe, computer science student, software engineer background. They're motivated, they're working hard, they're grinding on these AI agents, they're marketing them, they're selling them, they're building them. What do you think like a realistic timeline is, and what kind of money can someone make on the side through this process?
Speaking based off just data alone, I've worked with over 100 plus students now. I've had students who made like $5,000 in 5 weeks, right? I've had students who made $5,000 in 3 months. So it does come to like a per student basis. Marketing, if I see a student is willing to like market and create content online, immediately the chance of them making profit is so much faster, right? Because like being able to sit in front of a camera, record like a podcast, or even it's like a talking head video, Instagram reel, right? People are able to do that. They get so much more exposure and eyeballs, and we're living in an attention economy. So the more eyeballs on your product, your brand, the easier it is to sell. The more people trust you, the more people will actually buy from you, right? So if you're someone who's willing to create content, and you're creating like a short form every single day for like 35 days, and you actually have a solid product that you built, yeah, I expect within like first 1.5 months that you should be able to make like $1,000. Yeah.
Nice. Let's go into marketing. So the example you gave earlier was, think about who you're in your personal connection. Like, I call this an unfair advantage, right? Like, let's say you have 3 uncles and they all run pizza shops. That's an unfair advantage that some random guy, from a different state or a different city, or even in your city, can't replicate. For me, if I were to build these tools, it'd probably be to small medical practices in the Midwest. My parents are both doctors. I grew up in Iowa. I know like 20 doctors in Iowa, right? So I'd probably go for those ins. What are some other ways that people can market their agents to actually build this out in the early days?
Yeah, sure. So like, for example, I had no personal connections either. Like, I was one of the people who didn't have like an uncle at pizza stores or anything like that, right? So what I did, but I did have a big YouTube channel, or like, semi-big, whatever. But I had a content by my side. So number one is content, right? Now, I know there's a lot of things like your employer might not like you creating content or things like that. But if you can bend the rules a little bit or get it cleared, content is number one. With content, a lot of eyeballs. Like, so many apps have hit like $10,000, $20,000 MRR just because they have a one viral TikTok, So like, you're one viral TikTok away from getting like $5,000 a month in revenue for your app, right? So marketing wise, I'd say focus on content, like short form, if you can, like video, short form content, because YouTube is like much longer, getting you editors, a little more production time. A reel, you can just record your phone, right? Use your phone, record, hit the face cam option, just yap for like 40 seconds or 50 seconds, record like 3 of those a day, post on TikTok, post on Instagram, do it for every day for 30 days. That's 90 short forms. The chance of one of those short forms hitting is much higher than like if you just made one short form a day, right? Now, let's say you hate videos and you're too shy on the camera, so just start posting on X. X is another great platform where you're one viral tweet away from getting like an extra $1,000 MRR in your product. Like, a lot of apps have scaled strictly through X marketing, right? I'm not talking about like paid marketing at all, like just free, just posting on X, replying to people, posting like the Build in Public community, which is a very well-known community for like documenting your app's growth in a public setting, right? So posting on that. My personal best method, aside from content, was Reddit. I love Reddit because it is a gold mine of entrepreneurs who are willing to buy and spend money for your product or services, right? There's a subreddit called r/entrepreneur, has about 4.9 million followers now. I've made posts on there that have gone viral like at least 10 times. Like, I'm talking about 250,000 views, 150,000 views, 100,000 views, right? Which is considered viral in Reddit's nature. So as a result, you get a ton of people who are interested in like your services. Like, if your post is, hey, I made my first $1,000 online, and you talk about a real AI chatbot you made, how you sold it to a client, other business owners who are in that subreddit will be like, yo, I want a chatbot for my site too. So you actually get a ton of lead flow. Like, I made probably my best client from Reddit was like a $15,000 client from Reddit. So from a post that took me like 20 minutes to write, and I posted it, went viral. I got a client who's paid me over 15 grand, and now he's a long-term client too. Like, we're working on another project coming up. He just called me day for Halloween. So like, we probably have another project in the pipeline. So again, if I never posted on Reddit, this would never have happened. So Reddit is one of the big ones.
What are some underrated Reddit techniques or hacks to go viral on the platform if you're trying to market your AI products?
Yeah, sure. So number one is I made my first X online, right? Or X is $1,000 or like $500, whatever the payout is. That's huge. Everyone loves seeing like early wins, right? So that is a great game. Another one is I started my first business, and talk about what your business is. Right? Just be careful not to like add any links in the post or try to oversell yourself, because people see that and they're gonna call you out on it, and your post will get removed, and you might even get banned from the community. So you don't want that. right? So be careful with that. Another tactic I'd say is, anything with money in the title is great. People love seeing that. They like seeing that transparency, especially at a time where I feel like we're starting to become more financially transparent, but a lot of people still like, if you ask someone their salary, they're like, oh my God, why would you ask me that? That's crazy, right? It's like asking a woman her age or whatever. So same idea, but even though the notion overall is becoming more financially transparent, people who see like other people being financially transparent on a platform like Reddit, where it's not, known for like financial transparency, that gets attention. I guess the last hack would be revealing who you are. Reddit is known for being anonymous, right? No one knows who anyone is. People say the craziest stuff on Reddit, right? I think that's why Reddit gets such a bad rep and people sleep on it in terms of business. But if you come out and say, hey, my name's Ritesh Verma, I'm the founder of X company, right? We're doing this. Our mission is this. This is an experience I had as a business owner. Like the chances of you going viral are so much higher. Like a lot of business owners I've seen have done that, and like they're constantly striking gold with that. So
really quick, guys, I've personally worked with hundreds of computer science students and software engineers to help them land incredible, high-paying jobs in tech over the past few years. And from that experience, I put together a resource breaking down the top 5 lessons I learned throughout that process. We'll go through the biggest mistakes people make when trying to land a job or internship in tech, and everything you need to kickstart your software engineering career. It's available completely for free at amonmanazar.com/7dayengineer, or check the link in the description. You mentioned how if people oversell on Reddit, they can get banned. So what are the common mistakes people make that triggers Reddit to take down the post?
Yeah, one of the biggest ones is DM me, right? Saying like to DM them or comment down below if you want me to like send you this, right? Any lead magnet or anything where you're trying to like give someone something for free, but in reality you just want the person's information like their email so you can target them later. No, scratch that. It should literally be you just sharing an experience. Right? Do not try to say, hey, if you want to check out my website, it's here. No, don't do that. No personal plugs, right? Share your experience, and in a roundabout way, whoever sees your story and is interested in your skills that you have shared through your story, they will contact you via DMs or they'll comment below, and then you can just message them in the DMs, right? You can send whatever in the DMs, just don't do it on the comments, don't do it in the post itself. So that's one of the biggest things is no links, no DM me, no, my product costs X dollars a month compared to my competitor who costs this much, because at that point you're just selling yourself. You're trying to, pitch yourself in front of your competitor, right? So yeah, those are probably the best things you can do.
So what I'm taking away from that is essentially no calls to action, right? I think what I'm learning from this is that if your post is good enough, people will find a way to reach out. You don't have to directly have like a CTA, which is like click the link in the description or DM me or anything like that. If your post is good, people will anyway DM you on Reddit.
Dude, I had this crazy story where this guy, I made a post and it's an anonymous post, right? Mind you, this guy somehow, he DM'd me, right? But I didn't see the DM. So what he did was, I think he found some of my older Reddit posts where I talked about my YouTube channel, like when I was like, much like older posts, right? Where I actually did link my YouTube channel, like a comment. He found my YouTube channel, found the email in my description, and they emailed me to reach out to me to build something for him. It was like for automating this ad campaign of his. So from that Reddit post, he did all that work just to reach out to me. So like, yeah, if your story resonates with people, people will like find a way to message you, especially in a time where everyone wants people who are skilled automation developers. Like they're like, yo, I want this guy on my team. So it's a great way of getting clients.
So for the average computer science student or software engineer, would you recommend learning any kind of like languages, frameworks, tools, techniques, platforms, anything like that? And if so, which ones? Or do you recommend just find a client and then just use AI to figure it out?
If you're able to find a client first, I mean, that's great, right? I'd say you should learn N8N though. N8N is like N8 is the most popular platform right now for building automations, whether it be AI automation or just general automations. Gumloop is a pretty good one. It's up and coming. I think it's YC backed. It's pretty good. Now that's for like general automation, like no code platform builders. Learn Lovable AI for building AI web apps, right? Through just prompting. Learn Bolt. This is for mobile apps. So it's the equivalent of Lovable, but for mobile. I'd also say for web automation, learn Puppeteer JS. So it's like a JavaScript library that it can just automate browser tasks like clicking buttons, entering text, right? That's pretty solid too. And then Yeah, I think if you know those frameworks slash languages, you're pretty solid.
What are some other big mistakes beginner engineers make when trying to turn AI agents into side income?
I see the one of the biggest mistakes is they just try to build something that is an exact replica of something else, like another automation for the same niche. So if there's like a very popular AI agent or AI app, whatever you want to call it, for a certain, like for real estate, for realtors, don't replicate the exact same thing for realtors. See, we're at a time right now, again, where it's very blue ocean. So there's so many clients you can get where you might get away with it a little bit, like because there's so many realtors that exist in the world that you can like sell to another group of realtors, right? Sure, but you're not going to be the best at it. You're just going to be fighting against a much bigger shark, right? Instead, just copy exactly what maybe the competitor did, but do for a different niche, like a customer rewards loyalty app, but that's like AI powered in some sort of way, right? Maybe emails based off like customer personalization or whatever. That exists right now in the dermatology niche, right? There's a very good app that's known for it. They didn't sponsor me, so I'm not giving any free plugs. But if you do that exact same thing for like a set of dermatologists for like orthopedists, right, or pediatricians, pediatricians maybe not because they have a smaller their clients are like kids, right? So maybe for like so dermatologists, maybe for therapists, right? Or psychologists, right? That would be pretty solid because the idea itself works for dermatology. So if you just readapt for another medical niche, the chance of it working are much higher. So just don't copy what's already created for the same niche. Like you can copy, I know software engineers love copying off each other, like especially in Product Hunt, all the apps are the exact same. Just make it for a different use case, you know?
Yeah, on the pediatrics front, the clients, I feel like the parents. So even that should be fine, right? But I think the larger principle here is that you don't want to just rotely copy something because whatever you're copying was entered that market before you. So why would the client go with you over them, right? They probably have way more testimonials than you. They already have way more clients. Their app is way better. So it's better to take that concept and apply it to a different niche where it's actually not there and therefore creating that blue ocean. So I think it's a really good principle.
I had this one student I work with, and he is literally building like a PayPal for Cayman Islands, right? Because it doesn't exist there. So that's what he said. So if he managed to get that through, and he's working with the client, like a client's paying him to do that, and I guess the client will be like white labeling it and selling to other people. And my student has a cut of like all sales. Like that is a great way of just copying a product, but for a different, in this case, maybe not a different niche, but just different like region altogether. Yeah, whole different market. Exactly.
Nice. How much of this AI agent work is truly passive? So what is automated versus what still takes your time? So let's say you launch an app, you sell it. How many hours are you putting into the building, the selling, the maintenance, etc.?
Yeah, so for complex projects, you're still putting in like days worth of work. For simpler projects, like under 10 hours, right? That part, like building, is still manual. Yes, AI helps, like Cursor, Claude Code makes like coding so much faster, like 10x, right? Lovable helps building UIs and like instead of 3 hours, like 30 minutes. So that stuff is manual, but it's AI powered, so it's way faster, but it's not completely automated, right? So you can't, like, building has to be a lot of human work. Marketing is a lot of human work as well, I'd say. Yes, you can build like an AI content engine that creates these AI videos that funnels users to your Instagram app account, whatever. But it's still overall good marketing is still manual. I see what's really automated is like once your app is built and users are using it, right? At that point, like the app is the automation stuff, right? The app, like the money coming in, like that is passive. And the only way you can make it like passive is if you maybe automate your customer support. Like if you can't automate it, just hire someone, right? Like if your app is making $5,000 a month, spend like $500 a month for customer support, spend another like $2,000 a month on like a developer who can maintain the product. And then it becomes passive for you because now you're still pocketing like $2,500 a month. Now you're doing nothing. Like you're actually doing nothing, right? That's when it becomes passive. So you have to have people under you unless you build some sort of customer support automation or like some AI, like develop like Devin AI who can like manage your code base. But I don't think we're there yet.
Do you think this is all a bubble? Do you feel like this AI agent race, it's kind of like the gold rush, right? This is kind of like the .com bubble or maybe like the crypto thing like 3, 4, or 5 years ago, NFTs. Like, do you think this is all a bubble and in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, it's all going to pop and then everybody's going to move on from AI agents? Or is this something that's here to last?
I'd say it's definitely better than crypto and NFTs. NFTs were like garbage, right? Yeah. Like there was no value in them. And I'm not gonna lie, I definitely tried to get some NFTs and reselling them, I definitely was on that wave. But it's definitely more long lasting than that. I was born in 2001, so maybe that was during the dot-com bubble, I believe. So like I wasn't there for it. I'd say we are in a bubble for sure. Like the amount of money that's being circulated in this bubble is like at an all-time high, right? So that's the bubble aspect. But every company is gonna be moving to AI and like AI automation, like automating their employees for like the less number of employees. So that's not a bubble. I think that's like a genuine movement and almost like a principle that every company is starting to follow. I mean, we've been seeing all these layoffs, right? It's not like the bubble is gonna pop and all these people are gonna come back all of a sudden. No, these people are gone. Like they're not probably coming back. And these companies are only gonna get smaller and smaller in terms of workforces, right? I think Sam Altman said that we can be looking at $1 billion company with just like 5 employees and the rest are AI agents. Like that is very possible. So I wouldn't say we're in a bubble. I will say right now, because since it's early, the ease to make money in this field is definitely at all-time high. It might get harder in the future, or you just have to be more skilled in this field to actually be making like a lot of money for sure.
So right now I see two paths for a computer science student or a software engineer to get into the AI space. One is on the AI engineering front. So you're actually working for like an AI company or a company that is like an AI product. You're actually doing the engineering within that company, or you're doing research, right? You're building those models, you're working for OpenAI, you're working for Anthropic, et cetera. That's one category. The other category is this, kind of more like entrepreneurship, side hustle, go find some small business, go build some AI agent tool for that. Which one do you feel like is more sustainable if someone wants to get in the field of AI?
Yeah, definitely the entrepreneur route, because like you're telling me that you want to compete against ChatGPT or like OpenAI or like Perplexity and create your own model. Like you want to beat them, you know what I'm saying? Like unless you got like hella money that you're funded by, it's gonna be a really hard like battle. And Perplexity doing a great job. I think like they're killing it. But yeah, you're going against these like $1 billion funded companies, trying to build your own model. So that's really hard, especially in a time where like most ideas you have are already built, right? So it's much better doing the entrepreneur route where you're using existing models and just building off of them, right? It's much less work for you, right? And you just don't have to do as much. It's less like risk. Like you go to the YC route, get funded, get some VCs, get like 10 mil, 20 mil, $30 million in funding. And then yes, you can try and you might still fail. The way like you're still competing against OpenAI and like these big, companies. So like it's way harder. Like I would personally never go down that route. So.
You mentioned earlier that personal brand is a superpower for computer science students and software engineers. Why does a personal brand matter, and what can someone who's early in this industry do to start building that brand?
Personal brand, without it, I definitely would not have success that I have right now. And I'd say like personal brand is like, I contribute like 60%, 70% of my success to that for sure. To start a personal brand, the easiest way right now is short form. Because like I started off YouTube, like a short form just wasn't a thing like in like 2019, 2020. I mean, TikTok was just coming up, right? But YouTube is definitely good for long-term personal branding. Like people will actually recognize you and like actually care about what you say much more. TikTok is more like, it's like a local celebrity kind of stuff, right? They'll listen to what you say. They won't really care for you in terms of what you're selling or any product that you're pushing, right? Because they're only consuming 30 seconds on average of your content. So if you want to consume an hour of one person's content through TikTok, you have to consume like 120 reels, right? Or TikToks. YouTube, that's like one video, or like 2 or 3 videos max. So that is much easier through that. So like personal branding, I'd say if you can do YouTube, do it, but it's usually much harder because you need a nice camera, setup, all that. Especially with like today's game, it just gets harder and harder, right? Yeah, like all you got lights, you got 2 cameras, like it's crazy. This microphone, like this alone would probably cost like thousands of dollars, right? Someone starting out probably can have that, but everyone got a phone. So like, use a phone, start yapping on camera. Like you have something about your story or about your skills that you can share that provides value. You're like, if you're a computer science student, you are a computer science student. People value that. People in high school will love to know how you got into a computer science university. They love to know how the CS program is in college, like how it works, like what are your experiences, what's hard about it? Is algorithms whooping your ass? Is it easy? So everyone has something to share. So go ahead and share it. Don't think, oh, well, what am I going to talk about? Just talk about your story, literally, right? yeah, get into that personal brand like as soon as you can. If you're a freshman watching this, start right now. If you're a high schooler watching this, start right now. If you're a 50-year-old watching this, start right now. Like it will help you. Like everyone has something to share, so share it.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. This podcast, if someone were to consume content from us on short form, they'd have to watch like 100 TikToks or Reels to actually get the same amount, versus someone could actually sit through a full podcast and kind of get to know both of us through that. So in terms of your advice for a computer science student or a software engineer building a personal brand with the goal of marketing AI agents, what's the strategy there? Is it just sharing any kind of advice, building a general personal brand, and then somehow incorporating your AI agents into that? Or is there a different strategy?
Yeah, I'd say, so there's so many ways now where you can do it, where first you want to think about who do you want to like sell to? Like who's your ICP? Like who's your ideal customer profile? Like are you someone who wants to help people who are not technical, just take a already existing AI solution and just sell it to others? That's called like AI arbitrage, right? Or do you want to be someone who teaches other people in the computer science space how to build it from scratch, right? So first think about who your target demographic is, right? Once you have that in mind, then let's say like, for example, my route, I'm teaching people from ground up, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna create content where I show myself doing what I'm gonna teach you, right? And that's the best way to create your personal brand, is like your video should be based around the problem that your demographic has. So my demographic struggles with, what to build, how to build it, how to sell it. So I'm gonna create videos. A lot of my YouTube videos are watch me build and sell this, watch me build and sell this AI app. Here's how I build an AI app to like 6 figures or to 5 figures, whatever, right? So I'm literally making videos around the problem, and that's what your personal brand should be, right? Or you can do the vlogging route, right? But like if you're vlogging, it should be you showing yourself creating these AI agents and selling it to clients. Because now people see this like, yo, this guy or this girl, they're good at what they do. Like they're selling to clients, they get real world, credible, 4K footage of you doing this. So they're gonna believe in you, and they're gonna want to, have you be the person to build for them as well.
Yeah, my opinion on personal brand here is that it's hard to grow one if you don't have anything to actually show off or teach. So you can start by sharing your knowledge in the computer science space or the software engineering space. But what really could work even better is just getting your first client in the AI agent space and then making content about that, right? So like, let's say you do the pizza shop thing we can keep coming back to, and you add 30% revenue to that local pizza shop through some agents, right? Then you can make a video called like how I helped this pizza owner scale from like, I don't know how much pizza people make, like 20K a month to 25K a month through AI agents, right? And then you can show like the back end, you can show like, you can have an interview with a person, you can document that whole process. And chances are that video is going to get recommended to other pizza owners, right? And they're going to say, man, this guy's helping this guy, I want this guy to help me, right? So you can kind of take a hybrid approach where you actually do the work, but then you document on the personal brand.
Yeah. I think that's like a fire route, right? Just using like your existing case studies as like the new content. That's probably the best way to do it, because that's just gonna make the second case study come faster, the third case study come faster, right? That's just gonna increase the amount of people who are interested in like you as a developer, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. And like you never know what doors can open with content. Like you might be creating AI agents and selling them for pizza stores. Then someone who runs like a toy shop might come to you like, hey, can you build something similar for me? And now you just open up a whole different niche for yourself. Right, now you've expanded your business. So
why didn't you just keep working at Capital One, making 6 figures and doing this on the side? Why did you decide to leave your job and actually go all into your AI agents business?
Yeah, so there's multiple factors. One is I never wanted to be a 9-to-5 for more than like 4 years, right? I don't hate the 9-to-5. Like I respect everyone who does it. And I did it for 2 years, like 1.75, I guess, years. So like I appreciate it. I experience it. It's cool. My mom works 9-to-5, right? My dad is self-employed. I don't want the 9-to-5 route because I feel like you're restricted on what you do. And I don't love to code. Like I really don't love to code. I'm not like, oh my God, coding is so cool. Like I don't like that. It's a means to an end, and I treat it as such. So when it comes to 9-to-5, I'm like, hey, I'm spending 8 hours a day for 5 days a week for the next however many years of my life, doing something that I'm like okay with doing. Like it doesn't give me like fulfillment, it doesn't give me any dopamine or adrenaline. It's like, yeah, it makes money, good money, it gets me by. Like that's like, I don't say stupid, but like, cause it's just like, it's not rewarding for me. Like I don't find that fulfilling, right? I'd rather do something that I'm like, yo, this is amazing, dopamine, adrenaline, right? Like every single day versus just be that person who's looking forward to the weekend to like go out and party and like, yeah, Monday to Friday is hard, but I can celebrate on the weekends though. Like Yeah, but you're telling me you're okay with 5 days of your week being subpar just for those last 2 days, and Sunday you're probably not doing anything anyways, right? That's not a life that I personally want to live. So I always want to leave the 9 to 5, and I also know the 9 to 5, like working as a software engineer, it takes up 8 hours of your day. These are 8 hours of your day that you can spend doing something else, right? So I was like, well, if I leave my 9 to 5, I can put more time to my business. I can grow my business even further, like double or triple the revenue, right? So why am I still here, right? And financially, it also made sense. Like my rule was I can only leave my 9 to 5 if I'm making like 2 to 3x my salary, right? So once that happened, I was like, all right, I'm locked in. I got this.
Why not leave earlier? Like, why did you want to stay to the point where you actually made 2 to 3x? Because
Brown. My mom and dad would not have been happy, right? If it was like my dad wouldn't have cared though, because my dad, like, he understands like business more. My mom still fries me to this day, like about leaving the 9 to 5. So, oh my God, what if your business goes and something happens, which is true, right? And like now, what are you gonna do? Like having a job security, it's safe, it's a traditional route, So my mom to this day is still like, hey, 9 to 5 isn't bad. I'm like, Mom, I know it's not bad. It's like, it's not worth it right now. Like financially, it's not even worth it, right? So yeah, I guess parents is like a big thing, that influences like decisions on that.
Yeah, and I think people think the 9 to 5 is safe, but like we just mentioned, Amazon just literally laid off 30,000 people, like with a snap of the fingers. They just straight up Thanos snap 30,000 employees just like that. So I think people think it's suddenly like safe, you're never gonna have a problem whatsoever. And I do think it can be safe. I think like if you are an incredibly valuable engineer, you understand the hiring networking game, most people can get a new offer within, 3 to 6 months. But that's a long time. That's 3 to 6 months of no income minimum, right? So it's tough. And I think the old economy where we've been sold this like lie that your 9 to 5 is all you need and then you're good for the rest of your life is not actually the case. You either need to keep grinding, keep lead coding, keep networking, keep interviewing so you always have offers coming in, or you need to do your own thing.
Yeah, like that's such a great point because that's so true. The 9 to 5 isn't safe anymore. Like your parents say it's a safe option, but they also have the knowledge of like what they, understand of the economy. They're not hit with the updated economy, right? My parents still think the 9 to 5 is like safe and like they understand layoffs now because they're seeing it happen more. But a lot of parents are still under the term that, 9 to 5 is like 40 years. You're locked in. You're good. You're making 6 figures, whatever. Like, no, like you can be cooked the next day and now you're on your ass. Like, what are you doing? Yeah,
exactly. Parents have that perspective because they grew up at a time where it was safe, right? Like the parents' economy was like you start your company when you're 22 and then you stay at the same company for 40 years and you retire there at 65. Like that was something, right, like 20, 30, 40 years ago. But today, the average tenure to companies 1 to 2 years. So Gen Z is switching companies every single year, whether they're being fired, laid off, or just switching companies. So the idea that this is a long-term stable thing is not the case. And I really resonate with your mission, which is build side hustle streams of income so that even if you do get laid off, you have something to support yourself in the meantime, and you're able to build up that nest egg in savings, right? And people think like a 9 to 5 is all encompassing. It's not, right? Like, I mean, you can tell me about this as well. You can definitely build a business on the side, right? Like, how did you build a business while doing your 9 to 5 job?
Yeah, like if you have maybe doing it all alone is like harder, right? If you're working 9 to 5 and now you're all alone working 5 to 9, that can, you might be able to get burnt out faster. But if you have like a friend or two can assist you in this journey, that's great. Now, I'll be honest, like because I started back in college and I started early, like everything was in a good state by the time, I was my 9 to 5. If you're working 9 to 5 and you're starting your business like from day 0, that might be a little harder. But again, with AI being as powerful as it is, like you don't need like 2 developers to help you out. You yourself are enough. Cursor's like your right-hand man, right? Marketing, you can learn, right? So now things become much easier. Like you can actually like do it. But yes, if you're that person who's like, man, I'm tired after 5 p.m. hits. I'm trying to go to sleep, hit the gym, eat, go to sleep, which like a lot of people schedule. Have a friend who can, one, hold you accountable, work with you, make the process so much more enjoyable, right? And now both of you are running it up and making like money and building this business. And that's a different type of fulfillment. Like when you and your friend are working together, building something, getting results. So now you guys are celebrating like, yo, we just landed this client. This is tough, right? Like my friend and I, we get so happy when we land like big clients now. And we've been knowing each other since high school. So it's like, yo, we really came up, right? That's how we like think about it. So, just do that. Like it's it's very possible. I think it's just a mindset thing at this point, right? It's like limiting beliefs. People think that, nah, you can only do one or the other. Not true. Like how many stories have you heard of people like quitting their job because their business makes more, right? And then they're like, nah, that's just them. That's not me. Like that's not gonna work for me. Not true, right? Like you can definitely be that story. I feel like it's all limiting beliefs, it's all mindset now. And as someone who like was in the 9 to 5 and entrepreneurship, so I've been in both, right? I can say like, yeah, it's all a mindset thing. So,
Ritesh, if people want to connect with you further, learn more about this AI stuff, where should they go?
I'd say my YouTube channel, right? It's my name, Ritesh Sharma. You search up Ritesh Sharma bots or whatever. Or on my Instagram, RiteshKV_. So, yeah.
Ritesh, thanks for coming today.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast, right? First in-person podcast.
Let's go.
So, solid.
That's today's episode of the Software Engineering Accelerator podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Now, if you want early access to every single one of these episodes, head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other podcast app and follow the Software Engineering Accelerator podcast. That's right, you can listen to every episode early on the podcast apps before they get released on YouTube, so make sure to go over and follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And turn on notifications or check the links in the description. And finally, always remember, help will always be given to those who ask for it. So click the top link in the description if you want our help to accelerate your software engineer career and land your dream job or internship.